going on, guys? HaVoC back with another video, and today to go ahead and discuss the top 10 least used cards in Clash Royale. A couple of days ago, I did the top 15 best cards, but the reason why I didn't name this one top 10 worst is simply because these cards are not bad at all, and plus a lot of people would hate me for saying they're bad. Well, some of them are, but I'll leave it to you guys to fight any comments for that because yeah, not me. Please keep in mind the stats used in this video are based on the usage rate for all arenas. The reason why this is important is because half the players may not have one or the other card, and that affects the usage rate. But for the sake of simplicity, we will still be reading the least used cards based on that. Also, I am not going to be including the Bandit in this video because it's a new card and not many people have it yet. Yes, it was supposed to be on this list, but it just came out, so it doesn't really count. Also, one very last thing, I wanted to go ahead and mention that my giveaway is almost over, and all you gotta do to enter is like and comment, and that's pretty much it. So anyways, let's go ahead and get right into it. Number 10, the Bomb Tower. The Bomb Tower almost seems like a really old memory. About a year ago, it was one of the most used cards. I mean, imagine just stepping into a match and everyone using the damn thing. Yup, those were the days. But then players said to Supercell, it's too OP and it stayed up too long. So it got nerfed, and more than once. Even though you may like the Bomb Tower and personally use it, the usage rate for the poor guy is lower than 5%. There's simply just too many better options other people prefer, like the Cannon, Tombstone, etc. I think the Bomb Tower has a lot of potential considering the fact that they added him or her to Clash of Clans. Maybe it can use a rework or another buff, but until then the numbers will stay at 2.3%. Number 9, the Sparky. When she was first introduced to the game, yes, people thought she was gonna be so OP, and they were right. The Sparky was everywhere. Sadly though, Supercell gave it a huge nerf. I mean, the card is still fairly nice if you use it right, and if there's nothing distracting her, she will wreck your tower. She's no joke. But the problem here is just that Supercell put it down too hard, and now it's sitting at 2.1% usage rate. It's not a bad card though, like I said. If I were given a deck with the Sparky, it isn't really hard to win with it. It's not impossible. In fact, every card in the game serves a purpose. Number 8, the Battle Ram. I've never used it much, so I wouldn't have a huge opinion, but when it was first introduced, I don't think it was OP. I just think people didn't like it, perhaps. That doesn't make the card bad though. In lower arenas, I still see people rocking a deck using it, and they can be pretty sweet when used right. I'm not gonna lie, but the other day I lost to one. Yeah. I sure do think the Battle Ram is a bit easy to counter though. Just drop something simple like a building or a troop with high damage and it's gone. At the moment though, this lands the Battle Ram at 2%. Number 7, the Barbarian Hut. I've actually uploaded a few deck videos using the Barbarian Hut recently, which means it's good. But I think the problem here is the high cost. As I mentioned before, I don't think it's fixable. If you decrease the cost, it becomes OP. If you increase the Barbarians it spawns, it'll be considered powerful. Even when spawner decks were a thing, the Barbarian Hut was one of the buildings people usually left out. I almost feel bad for cards that just get thrown off. So this lands it at a very low 1.8%. But, like I mentioned before, I've made decks with it, and if you play it right, it can be awesome. Number 6, the Dark Prince. Remember the days when Double Prince and P.E.K.K.A. were a thing? Man, Supercell didn't ruin the Dark Prince. Instead, the meta did. Yup, the meta ruined it. When the P.E.K.K.A. and Double Prince strategy was killed, the Dark Prince came down with it, and now it's rarely used as much as other cards. Like all the cards in this list though, the Dark Prince is not horrible. I mean, come on, his hits do splash damage, which is something the regular Prince can't do. I really wish Supercell would sort him out, like kinda give him a buff, but you know, I mean, I've really missed the Dark Prince, and right now it's only at 1.8%. Number 5, the Mortar. It's kinda obvious this one is here. The Mortar has gotten numerous nerfs and it's simply not used much now. Even though you may see top players using the Mortar, it doesn't mean it's beast. Top players are known to use random cards all the time because the way they play is meant to always guarantee a tie if they don't win. But that's besides the point though. Much like the Bomb Tower and the Expo, the Mortar was once very powerful, and was even used to win a tournament Supercell hosted once. It's definitely had its days of fame, and man, those were the days. Narrowing it down to today though, the motor is sitting nicely at 1.5%. Number 4. The Tesla. This card was one of my favorites when the Royal Giant was first OP. Let's be honest here, last May, everybody was using the Royal Giant. And if you weren't, it was probably the double P.E.K.K.A. and Prince. Actually, I said that wrong, it's the double Prince P.E.K.K.A. I hope I haven't been saying double P.E.K.K.A. Prince the entire video, because then I will get tons of comments saying, what are you talking about? Anyways, the Tesla is one of many buildings from Clash of Clans, and it was super good back then. It's a shame Supercell has nerfed most buildings, but it's not entirely their fault. They nerf cards that we hate. So, yeah. Think about that for a second. The Tesla currently sits right under the motor at 1.4%. It's been under 5% for a few months now, and sadly, I don't think it's gonna move anytime soon. Number 3, the guards. I actually have a deck that I'm using right now with the guards, so I guess I'm part of the very few people that actually use it. But besides being able to survive a rocket and shield themselves, I have to agree, but they're kind of easy to take down. And the damage just doesn't make up for it. The card came out a very long time ago, and my memory is a bit fuzzy to remember if they were ever OP or not. But there's not much to say, and nowadays they are being placed in 1.1% in all decks. Number 2. The clone spell. When this card first came out, it was probably 100% because everybody was so fascinated with it, and cloning 100 skeletons was so cool. But the excitement died off a little too much. I rarely get attacked by anyone using the clone spell, and even though you love the clone spell, you may be part of the extremely low 0.9% that uses it. Jeez. I really wish the clone spell would have at least been used as much as the mirror, but no. It didn't fail, but in my opinion, I just feel like maybe it needs a rework or a buff in some way. And finally, on to number 1, we have the Dark Goblin. The Dark Goblin is fairly new, and he's actually pretty good if left unattended, but he's not that new like the Bandit. He's old enough to be on this list. I honestly don't know why people aren't using him as much, but if I were to guess, it would probably be the health. But for a low cost card, you also can't expect much. If Supercell increased the health, it would probably have been one more elixir as well to make it fair. Just my thoughts. With a very low 0.8% usage rate, I'm gonna shed some light on this one and say it doesn't belong here. But numbers are numbers, and HaVoC is HaVoC, and news is news. The Dark Goblin is unlocked at a very late stage, but that also doesn't mean it would have been one of the top cards if it was unlocked earlier. So I'll leave it to you guys on the Dark Goblin, bad or not. But guys, that is pretty much it for today's list. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I really want to thank you all for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. And if you guys did enjoy the video, don't forget to like, and yeah. So if you too, see you on the next one. Peace!